Hey everyone, my name is Priyanka Sagu. I'm one of the technical lead for SIG ContribEx, and today I'm hosting this meeting on behalf of Kathleen. Kathleen is away today. Before we get started, few rules for this meeting. This meeting falls under the Kubernetes Code of Conduct, which comes down to please be nice, helpful, excellent to each other. And this meeting is being recorded. So if you don't want yourself to be recorded, uh, on the video audio, feel free to turn off. Thank you. Anyone wants to introduce themselves? I can do that on the recording because I don't join this call much. Uh, my name is Priyanka Sagu. As I already introduced, I am one of the technical leads with Kathleen, Madhav, Navarun. And I work for SUSE as a Kubernetes integration engineer, and I am involved in few other parts of the project, SIG release, and now majorly SIG ContribEx. Anyone wants to go next? If not,
I'm Sylvester Carolan. I'm a contributor here and a contributor on Minikube. That's it.
thanks, Sylvester.
Sure.
Okay. With that, then we can move to our sub-project updates. We have a few people from the events team. Anyone wants to give updates on the KCS NA? Anything that's upcoming? Any milestones?
I think the most recent one is the design reminder, which will, the design deadline, which is August 31st. So just a week from now. I guess after that will be, I can talk for comms. After that will be promoting the unconference issue, plus the CFP reminders, which will be going out in the month of September. And then I think August 14th was the deadline for the schedule to come out. So Josh was, I think, asking Nitish about that. And after that, we'll try to promote the call for varianters as well.
Yeah. So big couple of things now is that we're hoping to recruit some new designers to do both the t-shirt design and the contributor award design. And as far as I know, have not gotten much in the way of submissions. Also, both registration and the CFP are open right now. We have had people submitting both things, but we want more. As a reminder to any SIG leads who might be listening to this and recording, the CFP does include team meetings. So if you want to have a team meeting at the Contributor Summit, that's the place to put it in.
Thanks, Josh. I have tried to capture it. Also, our registration now taking some speed after KubeCon schedule is also out. I think we are still slow on the registrations. Okay. I think nobody has idea about registration, then we can go ahead. Anyone wants to add anything more about Contributor Summit in general or any other events related discussion? If not, thank you for the updates. Moving ahead with mentoring. Sylvester, do you want to add?
Yeah, I did actually a lot on mentoring piece. I don't know if you've seen it, Josh. I've kind of redid a lot of the when I say the site, the website, the initial mentoring landing page. And I've submitted a PR for that as draft. I don't know if you can see it as PR, because it looks like if I don't want to just overwrite what's there. So I wanted somebody to review it. So I had a long conversation with Paris, who did this in the past. She gave me some really good pointers. I went in and like I say, reorganized the web page, create a PR for that. I was hoping that you'd have time to review it, Josh. I don't know what the process is here, whether I just submit the PR and get it merged, or is there an area we can look at it before merging it? You know, that type of thing. But other than that, I'm just I did spend a lot of time on it, so I don't know. I don't know what the next step is for this. Do you want to review it, Josh, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, somebody has to review it. Because one thing, someone has to okay merging it.
Yeah, no, I get that. But do you want me to move it out of draft, or?
A lot of your, well, we should actually discuss this in detail on the thing. You have a lot of.
Did I lose you?
Yeah, it feels like you have some moving around of directories here. Could you actually describe that in the description here? Because it's a little hard to see from the actual diff.
Yeah, I reorganized some of I put the landing page. Let me go. Put the landing page. The reason I moved things around is to try and reorganize it so that we had the group membership. That's the focus on it. I created an archive area to put everything so we didn't lose it in the archive area.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to change it so we had a calendar as well. So I could kind of maybe show you in a demo or something on.
Yeah.
How
Well,
can
no,
I show you
there's
that?
a preview. I'm just asking you to write up a little description of the changes that you made and why you made them on the PR.
Yeah, okay, I can do that.
Yeah, because it's not. I mean, because the rest of it is once I actually understand where you're moving the stuff around, it shouldn't be very hard to approve.
Yep, I'll do that.
Okay.
Cool. Then I'll add an action item on you, Sylvester, for just adding description to the PR. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Josh, as well. Do you want to take the other one as well, Sylvester? External mentoring programs. Are you taking care of that as well?
That one is not really for other than, I mean, I think we said on this that we don't really get involved in it. Isn't that correct, Josh? I was just
No. A couple of the SIGs have mentoring. I don't know what you call them. A couple of the SIGs are participating in LFX Term 3. But because that's staffed by the CNCF, we don't have to do much to make it happen. What do we need to do? We don't. That's the thing.
Okay.
This is just for people's information.
Okay. Thank you. So are we good on mentoring?
I think so, unless Josh has anything. Oh, Josh, you said you were going to get some more help on the mentoring side.
Other than the two of us?
Yeah, I thought you said on Slack that you might have someone who's interested on the mentoring side. I mean, it's clear, just from speaking to Paris, it's going to need at least 3 people.
Yeah.
The very least.
Yeah, no, I was thinking actually more of SIG leads for group mentoring. Working on that because we have to have SIGs that are actually interested in running a segment. So.
Right, but we also, I think, need to have people to kind of set the thing up, organize it, set the meetings up, and host the calls. All of that, right?
Which calls are you talking about?
Well, if we're going to have to set up, if we're going to do mentoring, on group mentoring, you're going to have calls where you check in with people.
Oh yeah,
make sure
yeah,
everything's
yeah.
going
So for the
okay.
group, for the cohort, yeah.
Right. So there's
and
those calls.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, and SIG leads or at least senior reviewers for the SIGs have to be involved in that. And that's what I've been looking for.
Okay. I mean, one of the issues I think Paris mentioned is there wasn't enough people helping with mentoring because it's a lot of work, right? I mean, just speaking to her, it's incredible amount of work, even just for the group mentoring. And I think you've said this a few times, Josh, right? Don't take on too much. But that's all I have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you need people to help you with the content side of it? I saw you have an umbrella issue
Yeah, I
for
created
tracking the
a bunch of
documentation work.
issues. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I created a bunch of issues, right? One of them was an umbrella just to kind of have everything underneath. One thing was to kind of organize the landing page, which is the PR that I just submitted. I'll go in and update that. The second one is to kind of figure out communications. So that one, but I think the biggest thing is maybe we can have a session on mentoring next time and actually go over what I'm trying to do, if that works. Because I guess it used to be a subgroup of this, right? Mentoring. So I really do think we need to kind of go over it in detail and spend a bit of time looking at the way it's set up. I had a look at the LFX mentoring program, which was really set up good. I know it's full time, but they had a really nice the way they've set it up. And I looked at some other examples as well that parents had mentioned. And to kind of make it successful, you kind of need to really drive it, lead the SIGs, the SIG leads who are going to come on, tell what's expected of them, and keep in contact with them with meetings and touch bases to mentors and mentees. So there's a lot of moving parts, and I try to document that on the restructured website to some extent, and even try to put a timeline out for everything. So I think it might be worth spending a lot of time, or a special meeting just on mentoring, just to go over that.
Do you suggest to use this meeting to kind of make it a dedicated session or host
Yeah, I think
a meeting
it'd be
on it
good to have
now?
a dedicated meeting for it, to be perfectly honest, the one-off just to kick it going. Yeah.
Okay. I think comms can help to send out the information, kind of a FYI to everyone, to the leads, and maybe one of us, the SIG leads, can help schedule the call. So whenever you want to schedule it, just maybe ping us on the SIG ContribEx channel, and we can schedule it and have the communications out to the leads mailing list. Do we
Right,
want to just send it to leads?
well, at the moment, I would like to have a meeting with just us and go over the mentoring, go over what the plan is, and see what people think. Is this the right approach? Is this what we want to do? And when are we going to start a mentoring program? Because if we start it now, how long is it going to go on for? Right? Because if we start it now, it's going to go into the holidays, things like that. And I don't know if we can get commitment from people. So I'm just trying to figure out the timing as well. So I could do it almost,
for for group mentoring, that starts and stops whenever the SIG wants it to start and stop. The group mentoring cohorts are on their own schedule.
Okay.
It's only the external mentoring programs that have their own schedule that we have to meet if we're participating in them.
Right. Well, I'm more thinking about if you're trying to organize people to support them and organize people from the SIG teams. For example, if you're doing a review mentoring session, right, you need someone from that SIG lead, that SIG team who's going to be doing the reviews, at least two people to cover, right? So you need to plan the meetings out ahead with them and then publish it out. Then you're going to need someone from the mentoring group to support them, or at least one person, probably two, to support them out. And that's what I mean. If we figure out the timeline and work with them and figure that out. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'll try and set something up. Maybe next time we have this meeting, I can kind of quickly go over it. But I'll add the notes to the PR that you said, Josh, right? And yeah, and try and go over exactly what I'm trying to do. We haven't had a meeting in a while, so yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So just trying to cross check the meeting, the dedicated session that you want to have is for kind of recruiting more people to help with the mentoring sub project, not
Yes,
with the
actually,
SIG itself.
yes,
Okay,
yeah.
got it. Okay. And just for my understanding, so Sylvester, you are kind of right now working on the mentoring sub project as a sub project lead.
Well,
Is
I
that
don't
a
know. I guess I think I was helping you, Josh, to be honest with you. So if you want me to lead, I can certainly lead it. It's
Well,
totally up to you
I can
guys.
be co-lead, but once you're doing the work of the lead, you're a lead.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I can drive in with Josh's help. See, I guess I was trying to. I didn't want to, step on anyone's toes, so I'm kind of standing it back a bit, trying
No.
to. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, I mean the history
I
of the
can push.
mentoring sub project has been that we had like 5 people working on it,
All right.
and 4 of those people, for various reasons, have left Kubernetes.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
and once it was just me, I put everything on ice,
Got it. Okay.
except for LFX, which was really easy because it kind of runs.
Yeah. Right. No, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll drive it forward and keep Josh in the loop.
cool? Thank you, Sylvester, for the updates and for all the information. Thank you,
Yeah.
Josh. Do we have anything more on the mentoring sub project updates? Or if you're good, then we can move to the contributor comms.
Good.
Okay. Do we have
I can do
anyone
comms.
from? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Hey, Mario.
can do comms. Hey, sorry for being late. So we haven't had a meeting last week because all of the sub-project leads were out. However, the SIG API machinery spotlight has been published. Election comms, Bridget will handle the emails, Arpit is handling social, plan is in progress. There were already communication going out. We have now a new thing that we basically have as a point for every meeting what we need to communicate. So what communication goes out. This is also because this will help the LWKD folks to figure out what might be interesting for the LWKD in the next week. In general, there are currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blog posts in the making, which is amazing. And I think that's it. Anyone can chime in for anything that I forgot.
Thanks, Mario. I wasn't able to capture the LWKD
I will
update.
put it in the notes.
Okay.
No worries.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So anyone else want to add anything on the comm side? Not? Thank you for all the work. I made a suggestion last kind of off the call to Kathleen that there is a lot coming out of the comm sub project in terms of a lot of new initiatives, and if we could collect them in an update once they are in a good shape and form for folks out to consume, that would be amazing because there's a lot coming out. It's some of them are overlapping, kind of the new contributor workshop and some more new contributor resources are also in progress. So maybe a summary of what all is happening right now and where to consume them. That would be great. And thank you again for all the work.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
one thing to add, maybe I don't know if it belongs to comms or I think it belongs more into ContribEx regarding the new contributor orientation meeting. They were supposed to be happening this week. However, we haven't finished the final review, and there was a bit of time pressure because of vacation time and so on and so on. So there was a decision to push this the first happening of the meeting. We haven't yet talked about new dates. So I guess that at the comms meeting on Friday, we might talk about new dates because the goal is it still to have it rather earlier than later. So I think now the goal is early September.
Thanks. Yeah. Kathleen also mentioned something similar
Yeah.
the last I talked to her. Okay. Can you also add the slide deck? She
I add
wanted
these.
folks to
Yeah,
review.
I
Yeah.
just copied it and then I put it into the notes.
Thank you. Okay. So I believe that's all for contributor comms.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Then moving ahead to contributor documentation, I think a lot of work that is happening towards the new contributor resources also comes under this area. Anyone on the call who wants to add updates for this area? I am not sure anything else happening other than what has already been discussed under contributor documentation. I know Sandeep was working on improving some documentation, role-based documentation for kind of refactoring the existing documentation and then organizing it in terms under roles as in beginners and somebody who has already spent some time in this XYZ part of the project. I think that is some activity going on under contributor documentation. I'll add a link to the issue. And the last I recall is if anyone is interested in helping with that documentation, the actual work, they need to collaborate with contributor comms and Caslin especially. So I'll add a note for that. Okay. So if nothing else for contributor documentation, moving ahead with moderation and media. Anyone wants to add anything here? Nothing. The only thing I saw last time was a small PR update from Nigel that changes the format of the meetings. The name of the meeting that are the way they are currently being uploaded to YouTube channel. I'll paste the link to that. Okay. A question to the entire audience. I saw that I think in last 1 month, I don't see a few meetings that kind of I hosted. I do not see a single meeting recording that is posted to Kubernetes YouTube channel for ContribEx APAC. There was a retro release team retro part 2 recording is which is also missing on the channel. So anyone aware, like, is there a time delay between the recordings, the actual meetings, and the when the recordings are published to the
Yeah, it's a
channel?
manual process. That's the problem.
Okay.
It's currently still a manual process. So it is basically reliant on the YouTube admins to put the to give the video free and put it into a playlist. So the videos that are being uploaded are not getting auto-published.
Okay,
But
that's good information.
there's still an issue that is being looked into to automate everything so that it's no longer reliant on the okay from a single person, because only at one occurrence in the time a meeting needed to, or two occurrences in the last 4 years or something like this, a video needed to be taken down. So
Okay. Is that work tracked somewhere, or is it like
yeah, there's an
I,
issue. There's an issue in GitHub. I just need to find it again.
okay, thank you. Cool. That answers my question. Okay, thank you. So, anything else for moderation media? I have one. Josh, it's regarding Slack admins. There was a issue for requesting a new channel,
Mhm.
Slack channel. I'm not sure how to progress with that. Are Slack admins going to address that, or is it awaiting on some information?
No, that reconciliar.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's
that
already
one.
been merged.
Okay, and
Yeah,
there
mostly it was a case of we needed the PR needed to be fixed for some reason originally, and then we lost track of
okay,
it.
okay,
Um,
okay, got it.
the I mean, one of the things that I actually need to get around to is working on recruiting a couple of additional Slack admins,
Mm-hmm.
because we are starting to be gappy when people are out of town at the same time. And the answer to that is to have a couple of additional people, but that needs to start with reviewing everybody who's currently on our list as Slack admins and see if any of them are dropping off because of inactivity, etc. So haven't gotten to it.
Thank you. And also, there is another issue, I think, regarding somebody requesting reactivating their Slack account, and I saw you check mark the Slack message I sent. So is it done? But I also see a comment from you 2 days back. Please do not act on this. Okay, maybe it
Yeah,
answers that.
that person has multiple accounts and hasn't responded in addition to the deactivated one, and hasn't responded to attempts to contact them directly. So I'm not
Okay,
doing anything until I actually hear directly from them.
okay, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I was just cleaning, kind of triaging all the open issues on K community the last call, and these were some Slack admins one. Thank you
Yeah.
for taking a look at them. Uh, okay. So I think that's all for moderation and media. We don't have anything for Zoom. This call. Okay. Uh, then it's GitHub management. I think the only update is the migration to enterprise org is done for all the Kubernetes org. There is Christoph is working on making sure all the placeholder organizations like Kubernetes Pro and all those Kubernetes suffix organization. He is also making sure they are also under our Kubernetes enterprise org now. So there is some work in progress on that side. And there is a lot of spam phishing attempt activity happening in across our Kubernetes org. I think this last 2-3 days, in last 72 hours, especially. So we have created a report with GitHub for that. But if you see any of those occurrences, just report them to GitHub directly. But if you can drop a comment in drop a message in GitHub management, so we can collect them to our and add them to our existing uh, ongoing report with GitHub. Okay, I'll add the comments to
Okay.
the agenda.
Yeah, when you're saying spam in GitHub, what kind of things do you mean exactly?
Okay, so in last 2-3 days, we are kind of getting some phishing attempts. Somebody, lot of different GitHub username are sending the messages with a link in them, and then some false, or I don't know, some sort of credentials attached with them, and it looks like that's some sort of phishing attempt. Plus a lot of GitHub usernames are sending the same messages over and over again. We are deleting one, blocking one username, and then there is another one that's coming up, resending the same message on the same thread. So we kind of saw the same phishing content across different repos under our Kubernetes org, uh, from many different usernames. They don't look like bots; they look like genuine usernames, but some of
Yeah,
them have already
but
been
possibly
acted
they've been
on by.
hijacked.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Um,
uh,
you
GitHub is
know,
looking into it.
yeah, as long as it's continuing, it might actually be worth sending out messaging to all of the SIG leads with a couple of
Okay,
examples of this and what to
okay,
do about it, right? Because the SIG leads all have the ability to manage um, issues and PRs on their own repos, and so they should know what to look for.
okay. I'll take that as an action item. I'll send a FYI to leads
Yeah.
at the rate. Okay, thanks, Josh. Um, okay, that's all. I think the current work happening under GitHub management, other than the regular repo and membership operations. Moving ahead with the elections. So I can give some updates on the current milestones we have. The ballot is open as of yesterday. Uh, so anyone who is eligible to vote, please cast your vote. And anyone who is not in the voters list and they feel they should be there, please create an exception request. I'll put a link to the process here in the agenda after I finish. Uh, the deadline to submit voter exception request is Monday, September 23rd. So before that, if you feel you are eligible and your work is not currently being tracked on GitHub, but in other ways and forms, please create a
Yeah.
exception request. We do already have, I think, more than 7 or 8 exception requests already. Some of them have already been approved, and others are in review right now. So that's happening,
Okay.
and the election ballot closes end of the day, 26 September, end of the AOE time, September 26, which is UTC minus 12, September 26. Okay.
That's actually a lot of exception requests compared with last year.
Yeah, I am not sure how many we received last cycles, but we are currently in discussion with the other two election officers,
Mhm.
and most of them are uh, from people who are part of summit staff team. So their work is not, for example, tracked on
Okay.
GitHub, and we have few others also that are not falling into that category, and we are currently reviewing them.
Okay.
Some of them are also from the SIG security, whose work like happens behind the scenes. So um, yeah,
Yeah. Although, let's see, SRC should already be in there.
yeah, they are there, but I think we got one from few from the chairs. So I'm not sure how their activity, like their day-to-day work, is like, but
Mhm.
we have gone ahead and approved them
Mhm.
per consensus among all three election officers. I think if we have already received these many, I expect more coming in more exception requests coming in the next weeks. Okay.
I mean, that's good. It means people are planning on voting.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
right, because you wouldn't file an exception request if you weren't going to vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I wish we have, I think, around 700 plus people already in the eligible to vote.
yeah,
So if we could get even around
yeah,
500, that would be amazing win. Okay.
it would be good. We
So
haven't been above 40% in a while. So
yeah. Yeah.
the okay.
So that's currently happening. What's happening under elections? Um, I don't have anything else there, but I will definitely put a link to the exception request process. And uh, if anyone in the call they are not in the list, please, I highly encourage you to apply for exception request. And if you are not an org member already, please reach out to the leads and we can help you with the org membership as well. Okay.
Is there some time limit or something of how long you would have to contribute to the Kubernetes project to be eligible for the exception request or something like that?
Well, Priyanka is part of the team that's going to actually judge each individual exception request. But it's not, there isn't a hard definition, right? But you get automatically included if you've had 50 contributions as DevStats measures it. And for anybody who's active in the project, it's actually pretty easy to rack that up because that includes things like comments on other people's PRs, etc. For other stuff, not really. I mean, if, like, for example, if you are asking for an exception because you were part of the KubeCon Contributor Summit Paris team, that would be considered enough. We're just looking for people who actually are contributors.
Yeah, and actively contributing. I mean, if they are active in the past few months, that counts.
Yeah. Oh, actually, here's a question for you, Priyanka. How many people are asking for exceptions not because they don't have enough contribution count, but because they haven't applied for org membership?
We got few which are under
Yeah.
review right now. They are, like, one example I can give without name. They are pretty active in Slack in the area they have mentioned, but they have no activity on GitHub for that particular technical area of the project. And they also don't have org membership. So we are reviewing that request, how to go ahead with that. I think we have one more also which does not have org membership, but
Yeah. So that's one of the other requirements, is that you actually have to be an org member or have applied for org membership. And that's really where the volume of contribution comes in, because there are some requirements for org membership.
I actually asked this question in the election officers, but I think people are yet to come active on Slack. So, Josh, is there a way to comment back to the person who have requested an exception request with some more information, or how do, like, election officer deal with those kind of
Yeah,
information? Do we reach out
not
to
via
people one-on-one?
Yeah, not via the tool. That's why we asked for contact information in the tool,
Sadly,
just so that you
somebody
can
did
actually
not
reach
add
out directly.
any information but the email. So I was
Well, then you
thinking, like,
email them.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
The
Yeah.
Yep.
So uh,
Yeah, the Electo is designed not to have any email or Slack message capabilities, rather deliberately, because adding those things would have required doubling at least the size of the code and greatly increasing the amount of code maintenance. As well as opening up new potentials for security exploits. So the yeah, so it's kind of set up that way. It's a little annoying for a few things, right? Because you'd like to be able to sort of automatically acknowledge the request for exceptions, but you end up doing that by other mechanisms.
I was wondering, when we actually go ahead and like mark it as reviewed, the person who actually created that exception request, do they get a notification about that? Because we as admin don't get any notification about whether there are any exception requests. So we kind of go
Yeah.
and manually
I
check
mean,
that.
they actually will end up getting a notification via their GitHub notifications, because you have to put their name, you have to put their GitHub handle into the voters.yaml, right? But a lot of people won't see that. So at least in the past, the election officers team has done this in batches and then sent out notifications to everybody
Okay.
whose voter thing was approved.
Okay. That's a added piece of information because I'm the one responsible for reviewing and approving them after
Yeah.
discussion with others, and I have not really pinged people. They kind of maybe rechecked and figured out, okay, now theirs is reviewed
No.
and they're eligible, but I was not tagging them on the PRs that I was creating to add them to the voter slips. Maybe I'll go ahead do that now. Yeah, going
Yeah.
forward.
I mean, I think sending people an email is better simply because a lot of people get way too much GitHub notifications and wouldn't necessarily see it, particularly if they're asking like a week before the voting deadline, right? Then they really need to know right away that they've been approved.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Got it.
yeah, so the idea of the exception request thing there is because you notice there actually isn't any way even in the exception request to indicate whether somebody was approved or not. It's just
Yeah.
a tracker to make sure that, the only thing you can indicate is whether or not the EOs have seen the exception request.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll follow this then. I'll let people
Yeah.
know why I'm in. Okay.
Okay.
That's good. So that's all for elections. Now moving ahead to the open mic session, we have 15 minutes. Anyone have any topics outside the sub-project updates? One from me, the maintainers track application CFP is out for KubeCon India, and the more information is also available on the project opportunities. So I'll put a link to that as well. It was shared by the chairs in the tech lead Slack channel as well. Okay, I found it. Other than that, I don't have any updates from my side. So if we don't have any further updates, maybe we can call it for the day and have 14 minutes back to us.
Thank you. Thanks for
I'll stop the recording.